All right, am I live? Let's see if I'm live. Yes, I'm live. All right. Sorry, I got the infinite screen here. Whoa. But anyway, I wanted to show you. Where is it? Oops, I just closed it out. That's where it is. So I'm working on page 1 here. And see, now I don't know what the camera's looking at because it's on the screen. But let me see. But as you can see, I think here, let me I'm working on page 1 of Archangels of Wrath here. Pretty sure you can see that. Sorry, my dog's just Bronson, you bark constantly. If the wind blows, you bark. I mean, I want a watchdog, but you know, I want a watchdog that barks when someone's actually trying to get in the house. Tell me, my dog, the wind, you know, the slightest little noise outside, my dog barks, man. So yeah, it's not looking too bad. You can see there's page 1. I got the lettering going on here, and I have a special little treat that I dug up today that I haven't seen in a while, and it is Nutjob, issue number 1. If you don't know who Nutjob is, this guy is Nutjob, and the reason his name is Nutjob is because in society, much like our society, good is bad and bad is good, and he's actually good, and the media just starts referring to him as a nut job. So he rolls with it, and he calls himself Nutjob, and he starts a revolution, and I will show you how he starts a revolution. And this is how he starts a revolution. Let me get so I was digging through some stuff today, and I was like, oh man, I thought I didn't have an issue with this, but I do. I have the original, and I have a copy that I made. So let's go. So issue number 1, Nutjob, and that was inked by my friend Henry, who's now married and living in like South Carolina or something like that. So issue number 1, Nutjob. So you see, there he is, the main character, and he's heading towards. I don't know if I ever mentioned his name in the first issue, actually, but his name was Cavey. What was it? Joseph Cavey or something like that, after my friend Joe Cavey, who's an MMA fighter. He's a good dude. He's one of the few people I know that actually can think straight. So there's an old saying that goes, when people lose everything and they have nothing left to lose, they lose it. I am one of those who has nothing to lose. The world is on the brink of war. Every town in the country is rotten and corrupt, and there's a police car outside this convenience store. So he goes in, and he walks by the cop. Now this is one of the cops. What he finds out is it's the police that are behind all the kidnapping and child trafficking, and his daughter dies in so-called foster care. Even the police are corrupt and act like the Constitution is a joke. Yeah, sure, there's some good cops. It doesn't matter if the system itself is broken. The cost of living keeps rising, and the pay is the same. Good jobs are scarce. People can barely afford to buy food. This is all pretty much come true, by the way. We're finding out the government, all the, supposedly Trump's fighting child trafficking, and all these big name judges are going down and everything. But, that I think my comic book was a bit prophetic here. So there's the lady at the checkout. She's behind like armored. She's behind glass. Just I decided it was time something got done about it. So I made a plan. I had no idea things were as bad as they were. I mean, I know things were I knew things were bad, but boy, was I naive. I was full of anger and indignation. Everyone seemed you can see he's got an armored gauntlet on. I wanted it to look homemade, you know what I mean? Because his armor is like made in his basement with like a pot with like bondo and stuff like that. You know, scrap metal and bondo. Uh, but anyway, boy, was I naive. I was full of anger and indignation. Everyone seemed scared, too scared to do the right thing. So he, so he's in line behind the cop. Who can blame them? The government and the police are very scary. Do as the world, or so as the world descends into complete and total chaos, I'm starting a little war of my own. Bam! He punches the corrupt cop in the back of the head. Here he is right here. I was just starting. You can see my skills if you go through my channel. Like I did this in like, I don't know, 2011 or 2012 or something. Right here, I should have centered the text. Look at that. Hey, degenerate scumbag. You broke your oath to the Constitution. This is your sentence. The cop's on the ground. And then you see his gauntlet. It's like crude, you know. Camera's a little blurry. I don't know why. Is it like dirty or something? I don't know, whatever. So he's going for his gun, and Nutjob sprays him with mace. Stop resisting. He's got like stuff built into his gauntlet. Stop resisting, he tells the cop. And the cop's just like, is that mace? Bam! Boot to the face. Why are you doing this? You know what this is about. I made him look pissed. And then he's just like, bam, he's punching him while he's talking. This is what happens when you just follow orders. I'm not under your jurisdiction. I'm under the Declaration of Independence. If I were you, I'd hang it up, or you're going to have lumps on top of lumps and bruises on top of bruises. And then he like runs out of the store, runs down the road. Man, it is awful blurry. Runs down the road, he jumps over this bridge. I can't believe it had to come to this. Incredible, he's thinking. Then he jumps down onto the railroad tracks, and you see it's hard to see, but he's running. There's like a bridge, and there's like a tunnel right there, and he's running down the tracks. Then he comes into his he's basically living in a condemned house, and the news is on. He's got like a little TV set up and everything. This just breaking: a police officer was just attacked. Julia is live at the scene. They've been looking for me ever since. Thank you. Yes, no one knows the exact details, but apparently he's like sitting there. He's got his gauntlet in a fist. He's smoking a cigarette, and he's like looking at the TV behind him. Thank you. Yes, no one knows the exact details, but apparently an officer is in critical condition after being assaulted here at Main Street Package. There is no comment on who the suspect is or exactly what happened. The detective working the case says pictures from the store camera will be released on Pagebook for the public to help identify the suspect, and that they are There's like a building. That's the hospital. uh, where is it? And that they will find this nut job, whoever he is. They start calling him Nut Job. So here's the detective with one of the head with the head bad cop. The detective actually doesn't know what's going on. He's like old school, and he just kind of worked his way up. You know, he kind of slipped through the cracks, but he's one of the so-called good cops. Here's the picture. So you know, I got basically a nice spread with the moon and some clouds and everything. And then he's handing them a file in the hospital. They're like waiting out in the outside the ICU. Here's the pictures you asked for. You want some coffee? No, thanks. And then you see like a picture of his gauntlet right there that like they zoomed in on his gauntlet to the picture. And then you see he's looking at pictures of the suspect right there in his hand with his hat on. You can see him. And he's like, this guy, he's like, is this guy wearing armor? Hey, detectives. Hey, Detective Sky. Your man is in bad shape, seriously. He has a fractured skull, broken nose, broken jaw, and a shattered eye socket. We're basically going to have to staple his head together and reconstruct his entire face. The guy, he eventually dies too. He doesn't make it through critical. I think I wrote it to where he dies, or he comes back and becomes even more of a bad guy than he already was. I can't remember, but there's the doctor, and he's like, I'd like to talk, but I have a lot of work to do. And the detective's just like, this will only get worse. The detective's saying right there. And then the last page. Oh, the stunner. So there he is in his armor on top of the building, and he's like, "Nut job, huh? Oh, if caring about the Bill of Rights and Constitution and the man, that type is so small I can't even read anymore. In the what is it? The I can't even read it. It's so small. I need a magnifying glass now. If caring about the Bill of Rights and the Constitution and the environment in the future, with all the fatherless children filling prisons, with all the childless, I should say childless fathers filling prison. If that makes me nuts, so be it, he says. I'll show them a real nut job. That's when he becomes Nut Job, because good is bad and bad is good. You know what I'm saying? Time to show the bankrupt, child grabbing, drug running government who's boss. They obviously don't fear the people anymore. Look at that. Look at that. That was like one of the best drawings in the whole book right there. I was really starting to get the hang of it by then. Why me, Lord? Why do I have to be the one to do this? Well, extremism in defense of liberty is no vice. I'll give them what they're spoiling for, war. And then it cuts back to the detective and this guy who's not human, as you can see. I gotta make a quick call. I'll be right back. Sure, Lieutenant. Sure, go ahead, he says, the detective. And that's Nut Job, issue number 1. Look at that, huh? That's pretty tight. It's actually not bad. Just so I was just like, I'm gonna make a comic. I had a bunch of ideas in my head, and I wanted to get them all out on paper. There he is in court. Look at, he's like, there he is, like while he's standing over the cop. You see him. You see, there's the woman they put in the to screw him over. There they are dragging him out of court. There's basically the judge. There's the judge putting down the gavels. And they're basically, she falsely accused him and took everything from him for the evil people, and then they throw him in prison and ruin him. He's like a blue collar. He's like a roughneck. You know what I mean? That starts working his way up really high, and he starts finding out about certain corruptions in the company that he works for, which gets government contracts and all this stuff. So they ruin him basically because he starts getting popular. He starts becoming a leader. Yeah, look at that. Look at this. It's not a bad layout. I'm looking at it now. I wasn't following any rules. I was just doing what I wanted to, doing my own panel layouts and designs. Look at that. Not bad. Not bad. It's a little blurry. I don't know why it's so blurry on my screen, but apparently I need better cameras and stuff. I really like this page right here. The hospital. I never got to put the sign in that said hospital. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I like some of these. Man, I was really getting into it. I love looking back at my old artwork, man. Look at that moon. Craters in it and stuff. Chemtrails in the sky. Oh, man, that's pretty crazy. And then the last page, the cliffhanger. He's up on top of a building and he's just in his armor. This is where in the next issue he gets in a battle with the SWAT team, and he has SWAT Buster armor, kind of like Hulk Buster armor, but I called it SWAT Buster armor. And I showed a lot of the sketches for the next issue. Issue number 2, Nutjob. So Nutjob starts that little incident starts a revolution, and then here he is later in Archangels of Wrath. He joins up with these guys in the Civil War, and he actually gets some of the enemy's technology because he finds out humans aren't running things, and they go and steal. They almost die in the process. Well, this guy right here almost dies basically. They nurse him back to they fix him up and they bring him back to the free world, and they fix him up, but they basically get chased by demons out of the underworld, out of the under-earth. So there's that, and there's Manomite right there, introducing Manomite. So anyway, I just wanted to show you guys a little story time with Nutjob. There it is, man. Nutjob, issue number 1. Homemade armor. I wanted the armor to look homemade, you know what I mean? I didn't want it to be all fancy. I wanted it to look like, kind of, rugged. He's got like pockets on his belts and stuff. He uses guns too. So anyway, yeah, there's that. I got a lot of work to do. I'm pretty sure that this first page right here, you can see I'm getting the lettering in now. Whoa, hey. He's like, I think they were waiting for us. They got a 50 cal. Getting all the lettering in there and sound effects. Zing. 50 cal round going right past them right there. 50 cal rounds. And there's a suit. They got some some kind of, well, they call it, it's not alien, it's demonic. The demons basically lie to everybody and tell them they're aliens basically, but they're really like fallen angels and monsters and all this stuff. It's crazy. It's like Middle Earth. They go down under the earth. It's like Middle Earth down there, basically. They end up running away, barely getting away with their lives. So there's that. There's their sub and everything. Yeah, so these should be up on Webtoons tonight. I'm really coming around the corner here. The cover and page one. So thanks for joining me. That's story time. And this is Kingdom Comics. Till next time.